What's going on, guys? Zuko back with another Dragonflight video. Hope you're all doing really well. We're going to look at Season 4. This is Nokhud Offensive. I'm going to go through all the dungeons and tell you guys about the changes that have happened coming forward into Season 4 because Blizzard is making some big changes. They've already made a bunch. Brackenhide and Azure Vaults and Algathar. So they're all here. So I'm just going to go through the big ones for Nokhud Offensive and show you exactly what's happening in this dungeon in Season 4 so that you're prepared and you don't kind of get caught off guard when you're going into that new season. So at the beginning of the dungeon, nothing has really changed that much, but I do want to highlight this very, very first pull that a lot of the tanks are going to do. If you didn't run Nokhud Offensive in Season 1, this is the biggest pull that happened in the whole dungeon, and it happened right away, and we blew Bloodlust for this every single time because you don't need Bloodlust on the first boss. If you didn't run this dungeon, be prepared to do this pull. It's a very dangerous pull. It is extremely difficult to actually pull off correctly. We don't even pull it off correctly here because nobody's CCing anything. There's a bunch of like shoots going off. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 shoots going off, and a rain of arrow, and a hunt prey is like really dangerous. Watch, the priest just dies from that, basically. Gets a bleed on him. So nothing is different about this pull from Season 1 to Season 4, but it is very dangerous. If you didn't do it before, you're going to probably have to learn it at some point in this season because it was very, very popular amongst like tanks and groups that were pushing higher keys. You don't have to do it. It's actually just like, it feels more like an ego thing. Like people just do it because that's what we did. You don't have to do it. But anyway, I'm just letting you know. I'm giving you sort of some fair warning. Look how many times we died. Anyway, this first section is the same. You're just going to be killing all these mobs. The rest of these packs aren't super dangerous. Really not a lot to kick here, and the second half of the dungeon is really where a lot of things need to be kicked, so I'm going to skip ahead. This first boss fight is also not difficult. Just remember, as a healer, it is typically your job on this boss fight to go get the crossbows. If you don't know what this fight is like, if you weren't here in Season 1, an ad is going to spawn right here. He's going to destroy this crossbow over here, okay? So there he goes. He's running. We're going to kill him, okay? He's running, we got to kill him. There, he's not able to kill the crossbow. Then as the healer, it's typically your job to hit the crossbow, and it fires at the boss, and it does damage to them. That's mostly the entire fight, okay? You're going to learn it this season if you didn't do it before. Let's keep moving on here. Then you're flying to the second area. This is the lightning area. It's still as dangerous as it was before. It's very, very, very dangerous. Again, the tank does like a double pull here. And I just don't think you need to do this. Maybe on super high keys, but he just literally died because he didn't have enough armor up. I don't think he had enough just defenses in general. So then we do a smaller pull without doubling, I think. We do the regular pull here, which is, again, also very dangerous. Lots of things to interrupt. Surge, and then there's Stormbolt, and then there's like a AoE that goes off here in a second. A Totemic Overload is the big one. This goes out here. This does a lot of damage to everybody. You can pick up these orbs to get more damage, which is really nice, but nothing is different here. Just understand that this is a very dangerous area that requires a lot of kicks. You can see we died multiple times once again. Just the way it is. We did it without dying. We will eventually kill the... Oh, yeah, this one has to be kicked for sure. This is the big one here. Tempest going off. Primalist Stormkeepers will do Tempest. This must be kicked. Watch how much damage this does. It starts stacking up because he's channeling it. Eventually, everybody just dies. Like, it's just not possible to live through this. So, again, this is a plus 10 key on the PTR, which is equivalent to a plus 20 right now on live. And we are low on item level in this. We are capped to 499 item level on the PTR right now. So, realistically, you're going to be doing this key in better gear than what I have on right now because we're capped at 499. You're probably going to be above 500. So this is going to be a big struggle. Don't think of this as like exactly what it's going to feel like on live. It really won't. You'll be more geared than this. This boss, there's also nothing new. So I'm just going to fast forward through it. There are some interesting mechanics here. I can get to those in a different video. But let's get to the next section, which is the first major change that's happening. And that is with these birds, okay? The birds that are in here, the Anarin, the Desecrated Anarin, I think that's what they're called, or Ahuna, Desiccated Ahuna. I'm getting all these words wrong. He's doing Rotting Wind. This is the new ability. So Rotting Wind used to be a frontal cone, and now it is just an AoE dot that does ticking damage on everybody if you let it go off, which we are right now. You cannot let this go off. That got interrupted at the last second. There's a lot of other damage going off here. You have to like collect your spirit after he shatters your soul. And then the main thing that you can deal with is, of course, the rotting wind. Now, there's a patrol bird coming in right now. This is very dangerous. Now there's 2 additional birds. 3 additional birds in there now. So there's way too many birds. They're all going to start casting Rotting Wind. And one of the changes that Blizzard made to Rotting Wind is that it's an AoE dot now. That's new. But also, it apparently each bird will not cast at the same time. So you can't just like AoE stun them all and stop Rotting Wind from being cast. So you can see this cast just went off, and now the next one is casting as well. I think like Vengeance DH would still be very, very good here because you can just AoE silence everything and then you're kind of good to go. Bottom line is you must have something ready to go to deal with Rotting Wind. You cannot let any Rotting Wind casts go off or it's lights out. It's literally everybody's going to die. That's just the way it goes now. So it used to be a completely harmless frontal that basically never hurt anybody unless you were melee and you were getting a little careless. Now it's one of the most dangerous abilities in this entire dungeon. So it really changes the way you're going to be looking at these packs of mobs. Any packs in this section of the dungeon that have these birds in them, I feel like you might want to avoid potentially, or only do the minimal amount that you can and then reroute yourself so that you're killing other mobs that don't involve these birds. Maybe. Or, obviously, you can just establish a really solid kick order to make sure that Rotting Winds keeps getting interrupted. It's interruptible, it's stunnable, it's paralyzable, it's whatever. You can do everything to it. But there's just a lot of other stuff going on. So you'll have to come up with a plan for this, okay? Big time. Now, the other big mob that got changed is coming up in a minute here. It is after this guy. How many hills did we do here? Yeah, it's this guy here. So this guy down here, he's right before the boss. You typically, I think, on a lot of routes that we did, you avoided this mob anyway, but there were some routes that pulled him as an easy extra %. He's only worth 2%. The problem with this mob now is he's called the Ilvl Beastcaller. The problem with the Beastcaller is that he summons 5 dogs now instead of 3. The dogs are worth literally nothing. They're just going to add additional damage to your tank, essentially. And your DPS might end up, like, padding AoE damage on this fight when really they should just be doing single-target damage. So either you should just avoid this guy now, probably because he's really inefficient. He takes forever to kill. Or you take this mob and you pull him into another pack to make it really, really efficient. That would be the best thing to do, I think, if you're going to be forced to pull this mob. But look at the dogs just chewing on the Vengeance DH. So I don't think it's worth pulling this guy at all. This boss fight has not changed at all. Teera and Maruuk is the exact same as it was before. It is, let me get to my next video here. It is still very dangerous. Very, very dangerous, especially on Fortified week or Tyrannical weeks. It is super dangerous, but there's nothing different about it. Let me go to the final boss area here. Let's skip ahead. This is another one that I did, another Nokhud. So we're going to go to the final area. You're going to fly to the final area. Oh, this guy. Oh, is the next one. I'm sorry. I just did the exact same video. My bad. Let's get rid of that one. Here we go. Okay, so let's go to the final area here. Okay, we're done the dungeon. What I want to show you is this boss fight, the intermission part for this boss fight. So he runs into the middle of the area. He does an intermission. It does a bunch of pulsing wind damage, okay? And then it also spawns little blue swirlies. So he does siphon power. He's going to spawn the ads. The ads need to be kicked and CC'd and brought in. We're all taking ticking damage now. Storm Winds does about 25,000 damage every 0.5 seconds. Not too bad. Now, the blue swirlies under your feet do not spawn as often as they used to. This used to be a serious problem. There's the blue swirlies right there. They spawn, and then we're waiting. We're waiting. We're waiting. They're not spawning basically at all. They're not spawning. Now they finally spawning every 5 seconds or so. Those are going to spawn. They used to spawn every second under your feet, and you'd have to cast a spell, move, cast a spell, move, cast a spell, move. They used to be so debilitating for casters, and now they've really fixed it. Even outside of intermission, they're not showing up as often. So, like, once they spawn here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 6. I don't even know why they're not spawning now, but They basically don't spawn anywhere near as often as they used to, which is a huge change for casters and a really big buff to the Balakar Khan fight in general in the endgame. Makes it a lot easier. So those are the major changes that are coming to the Nokhud offensive. It is still an incredibly dangerous dungeon, requires a lot of coordinated kicks and CC to stop really dangerous abilities from going off like Tempest, and now the new Rotting Wind from those birds. So there might also be some pathing changes depending if people want to engage with the birds or not, or fight that other guy, the Beastcaller, with his dogs. So we'll have to wait and see what people kind of figure out once they figure out kind of exactly the best way to do it. But for now, those are all the changes that are coming to Nokhud Offensive. I'm going to keep doing these for all the dungeons for Season 4, so stay tuned for the next dungeon. And thank you guys so much again for watching. Love y'all. I will see you in the next one.